back from the States in 2005 for the first time in like 20 years. And I met some friends in Delhi who were all, ex-architecture and NID designers, who were a group who decided to come to Goa and look for places. And this was, 2006. Places were cheap, so it was a great way to shift out of like an urban situation. Plus, for me, I was looking to come back to India, and none of the cities really made sense after Los Angeles. And Goa was completely something else. I mean, it was this lovely natural village life, and so I mean that's what brought me here. And then I just fell in love with the architecture of the villas, and I ended up just buying one of these old villas and spending 2 years restoring it. So then I was kind of in Goa, but I felt very isolated. Pretty much every 2 months I would have to go out of India to, just see a gallery or a museum, or just like stimulate my mind. I mean, that was what was missing here. So over time, I decided basically that, there were a lot of creative people, but at that time we were kind of spread out to create some kind of a hub where we could meet to actually discuss something creative. So the project started in that way, that I wanted to create this kind of creative hub. So it had to have housing, a gallery, workspaces. So it was designed to be that. Though I had no inclination to run a gallery, because I had never really run a gallery. So the project started almost by chance, because somebody wanted to borrow money from me, and he offered me this piece of land which nobody wanted. It was next to a cemetery. I have made this building to be climate proof and soundproof. So if I want to shut myself in and put my AC to 18 degrees and feel like I'm in New York, I can do that. I can open the windows and enjoy the village. So I wanted all those things combined in this building in terms of services, like really high services. In terms of design, again, if you see these places, I mean, they are all what's called a loft space. So it's an open space. It's designed for volume and not for square footage. So it's a Japanese kind of a design where it's, for your eye, the place looks big, So these kind of factors, and each of the apartments has been given either a garden or a courtyard or a huge balcony. So you have a certain amount of time you can spend outside, and each of them was designed differently, even though the idea of the space is the same, the double height, the lounge space to work, the little bedroom, but each one has completely a different feel, which is again because of my architectural background in America. I was forced to build apartment buildings where every apartment is the same, you never find it. So I designed this space where each one has a different entry, so it's your apartment. So we opened the Cube about 5 years ago, thinking that we would have an artist in each of our lofts, which are 4 lofts, or a designer in each one of our lofts, a full gallery functioning, while people could, go around each of the lofts and see the work of these other designers. It was too ambitious an idea. It was completely out of scale, out of place, especially 6 years ago, where the whole phenomenon of people now coming to find their creative dream in Goa has become much stronger. But 6 years ago, I was like way ahead of the whole phenomenon. So I started the gallery, ended up like having to run it myself. I mean, being an architect and an artist, I mean, I have enough knowledge how to run it. But who was my audience? I had absolutely no idea. I'm in a village far from so-called Panjim city, so there is no like urban kind of a feel where people go out to a gallery every week. And I was not familiar with India, that the gallery culture really doesn't exist in India. But what I saw was that, slowly the kind of Western life attitudes were being, slowly being adapted by the Indians. So they were heading towards something which I felt needed to give them a sophisticated edge, which would work for them. But I didn't realize that it would be intimidating to actually have an international level gallery dealing in contemporary art, which is again, being contemporary art is again quite foreign to India. I mean, India is still, loves its traditions, which are great. But contemporary art in a village in Goa was kind of just too wild a dream. But I decided to pursue it, and for the last 4 years the gallery has developed into a kind of a hub where people do come, though we open only 6 months in a year. And we've also started having more residencies where we're bringing in international artists and not just dealing with local artists. So the local meets the international is what I've been trying to do, and to form some kind of a community which actually treasures this kind of interaction. We also concentrate on the three-dimensional art object. Like if you see this time the show is a lot of wire mesh sculptures which are considered art objects. Another big thing is ceramics. It's a very new kind of art form in India that is getting a lot of respect very fast, and there are actually 4 or 5 ceramists in India that are international standard. I also do furniture and sculpture. So we have quite a wide range of so-called interior deco products other than the serious art work. What we are interested in is projection mapping, which is not there much in India. But we are kind of working with the Northwestern University in Chicago, who has a campus in Qatar, and they teach these women in burqas to do digital mapping. So we're probably going to bring them in, which is, you project onto a 3D surface, but it wraps the 3D surface. It's not like a flat picture. So, and it's very immersive and interactive. When we started off, we were getting, more the urban people who have moved to Goa. But in the last 3 years, we have concentrated a lot on showing local artists. And that has actually been surprising, that there are a lot of people who love art in Goa, who are Goans and live here. And so we've seen an increase of those people coming here. So that is quite uplifting in a way. Now how to expand that and keep it like consistent. That not that people come just for one show, but they come for every show because they want to expand their minds. So this is a very nice market actually to tap in. Art is good for everybody. And now the people who can afford art really haven't been told you can enjoy art. I was basically here in the 60s because my father was in the Navy. So we were here in 65 till 71. So my love for Goa comes from growing up as a kid over here. And I wanted to have kids in Goa, and I did that along with the gallery, have 3 kids. It's quite gratifying, to have set this up. Plus, because I have 3 children, this is something I wanted in my dreams to grow up in. Like an art gallery with artists working everywhere and watching them, create things with their hands. So this is another thing that is for me like very nice that has happened, that my children see hands doing things and not people just with monitors punching buttons. And personally, I can't complain. I mean, this is kind of paradise. Moira, for people from outside think it's great, but for me it's like noisy a little bit, so I even live in Corona, moved further inland. It's a wonderful place, plus you can set up your own pace, but always have a plan and have a pace, whatever it is, slow or fast. You can party like an urban place. You have the nice beaches and the nature where you can, have a healthier kind of a lifestyle. I have to party because of being a gallerist. I mean, I have to show my face, but here I have a choice. I mean, if I was in an urban center, even in Delhi or something, I would have to do it every day. Here at least I can do it like twice a week. The isolation and the solitude and the sounds of Goa is actually very beautiful. I mean, coming from LA or from whatever, New York or Paris or something, even Dubai or something. It's really like, nothing really that is intriguing, and the shows are not, the same musicians are playing. The person coming here can enjoy it for a week, but the person living here cannot enjoy that. And more people are choosing to live here. So that's why you need something that is has more depth to it. The communities that are being created here because of both the geographical isolation and then also the financial let's say class, are creating very isolated small groups rather than looking at the picture as a whole group, which is what they need to do. Plus they are a separate community from the Goan community. Now the Goan community has rules, has been here a long time. Now these are people from a transplanted community. They don't really know which rules to bring along and which rules to follow over here. So even though people are coming here, they're falling into a kind of a routine. They're bringing their same routines from their urban places. I mean, it's like in Goa, there is no point to stay at the party after 11 o'clock because the sunrise is beautiful. People in Delhi go to party at 11 o'clock and come back at 4 o'clock and then it's like they don't see the sunrise. I mean, it's a bad road, it's nothing to see. But here, to do that lifestyle seems a little bit like you're losing the opportunity. Goa has always had like the famous artists that have come from Goa, and because it's an exposure to the West, the Goan artist has been exposed to European art more than the Indian artists. So I've discovered these artists which I didn't even knew about before and what they do. I've discovered excellent like local village systems that I didn't know that function very, in a very amazing way left over by the Portuguese, and that's why we don't have rampant development in Goa. It's not possible because it is the Portuguese system and not the British system. The rest of India is the British system of zamindar, and here property is owned by the community that established the village, and very hard to break that. So those things I didn't know, and of course the water systems of Goa are incredible. Air, water and wind, whatever you might take it for granted, but they're disappearing all over the world. So just these three things, and then the rest is just thrown in. I mean, the nature. You are allowed to pursue an alternative lifestyle. Alternative is going to become mainstream. It's been challenging, but the rewards are amazing. I enjoy challenges because they make you actually use your abilities and your resources to the maximum. Goa allows you to express yourself. Now, if you have something significant to say or not is your question. But Goa gives you the opportunity to express yourself in any way.